Well, that's kind of my
In other instances, if the person is found, they're found in a location that has been previously searched, not just once, maybe dozens of times. They leave the searchers scratching their head.
You'll see.
After examining thousands of missing persons incidents, Jbingfa has identified 59 so-called hotspots in the United States alone. Places where more people appear to vanish and without any signs of foul play than anywhere else in the country.
In the work we do, it's a rare event to find. But in those instances, the vast majority of times, the victim doesn't remember what happened. They don't know why they got lost. They don't know where they went. They don't know where they've been. I've been very fortunate to meet some of the smartest people in the world of theoretical physicists. And during those conversations, many times it's gone towards portals. And the response coming back from the physicists was, these portals can be directed and targeted.
Is it possible that when people go through these time tunnel portals, and they have no memory of what went on, it's because there's nothing for them to have a memory of, because for them it was just an instantaneous thing.
So I'm one of these people, as an investigator, that lives in the world of facts. I don't hypothesize, theorize, and I'm very careful about where I tread and who I talk to about these things. And when you hear from a scientist who's credible, saying these things could be occurring, it makes you uncomfortable, and it makes you wonder really what might be going on.
Could mankind be on the verge of an incredible breakthrough? One that acknowledges that black holes exist, not only in deep space, but also here on Earth.
Well, I'm not against the fucking F-35. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Not in space or in a laboratory.
Have huge complaints about
Earth's oceans.
About this.
September
Patrick Bradley
2013.
in the movie.
Scientists from ETH Zurich and the University of
This was supposed to be the
research. They've discovered that many circular-shaped ocean patterns, otherwise known as eddies, are the mathematical equivalent of black holes in space. Mainstream scientists are forced to ask themselves,
for 4 plus whatever it is,
not only in the oceans, but also on dry land.
I think it is
Some people will say, "Oh, we understand black holes."
quite over,
We're seeing in the universe.
It is.
Black hole candidates.
Yeah.
And
What's
they're
the girl?
displaying a
Supposed
range
to
of
look at
behaviors which
right?
we hadn't anticipated.
The girl leading the show, and
when you look at the mathematics of vortices, there's a certain universality that we see them when you pull the plug in your bathtub. You see them in hurricanes and twisters. You see them as a universal feature of nature.
We're looking for solutions
the boy from the other team, some player,
space-time that will allow us to open a portal, a vortex portal perhaps, to another star system that we can transit. And to do that with a far lower threshold of energy than one would expect from conventional black hole theory.
But if, as scientists are now beginning to discover, black holes can provide gateways through time and distance, could they also be controlled? As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, the answer is a resounding yes. And they argue that Earth's black holes have been controlled for thousands of years, and by beings that are not of this world.
We have to think of these vortex areas around the Earth as useful.
Like checking out
If extraterrestrials and other people can manipulate these vortex areas,
rainfall or fire, you name it, or you may name it, all by
talking about our strange and beautiful universe. But our Earth is pretty strange and beautiful too.
It's about you know, yeah, something
on
like that.
Earth are going to be the key to open up the gateways to the universe for us.
It has right
This is the
away,
stuff of science
especially
fiction, but it's
get
actually
real
the border
fast. So
between
you
science
have
fact and
to
science
change
fiction.
it out again.
And these
See
are
the
things that
fact.
cannot be ruled out.
You know, as
Will the realization that black
riding
holes
a
exist here
hole
on
in the
Earth
corner.
help to resolve some of history's most unanswered questions?
So
Questions
get
concerning not only
sober in
mysterious
that sense
occurrences,
for your heart
but
sake.
also those involving
And
extraterrestrial visitation. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and suggest that mankind is standing on the threshold of an exciting future,
now look at that.
where
What about
dreams
that?
of traveling through time and space will become reality, and where contact with our alien ancestors will unlock the mysteries about our ancient
Jbingfa
past.
is one of the best gameplay systems ever. Guys.
It is a book that caused a global sensation.
I want to finish that level with like
It
what you
challenged
saw.
everything we
How did
thought
you
we
hide?
knew about humanity's past.
Mamma mia. It 100%
Which is
questioned
responsible in this kind of game?
orthodox ideas
Once
of
a light,
archaeology.
A lot of people violently disagree with you.
can't ever be bored. Not horror. It's
But after
gameplay
5 decades of scrutiny and
horror part
investigation,
kind of.
how has Eric von Daniken's controversial
Now I
theory
have
held
nothing.
up?
We've had
If I
people
go
who work at
beyond
NASA
below
go on record saying
90,
that of course
I
they
guess
believe
there.
extraterrestrial life exists.
Join the world's prominent ancient astronaut theorists. Wow.
So not to lose, and that's my kind of game. Any kind of as I'm supposed to.
We've seen this new generation of ancient astronaut theorists bringing new facts
Oh
that
boy.
were previously unavailable.
And this is what I had the good right hand.
Phenomenon.
At no time has there ever been such a big wave of people.
So now where I am, it's kind of jump.
It's a special 2-hour
That's
ancient
how nice
aliens
has been
event.
there.
And Daniken's theory is
Yeah.
mesmerizing because nobody knows anything.
Let's go over again.
(1968).
Blah, blah.
It was a year of civil unrest,
Yeah, yeah.
colossal scientific achievement, and a violent opposition to a
Actually,
war
Mr. Neil
that
Armstrong
seemed
is
to
a
have
fun
no end in
ground.
sight. It was a time when everything was questioned, and people over 30 were no longer being trusted.
You had a socio-cultural revolution taking place during this decade. Vietnam, women's lib, civil rights, and political assassinations.
This was the time of terrible world tensions. Nuclear annihilation was on everyone's minds. The Soviets had nuclear weapons and missiles, so did we.
There was tremendous social and academic change all over the world, and particularly in the West. Young people were getting their voice. The status quo that had come out of World War II, the controlling of us, people were rebelling against that. So things were very much changing.
In 1962, America's 35th president, John F. Kennedy, announced his nation's ambitious goal of putting a man on the moon.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing.
Demand presence at Park
What's that? Oh man.
Less
Oh
than
god.
6 years after Kennedy's audacious proclamation, a book appeared on store shelves. Entitled Chariots of the Gods, it threatened to push the evidence-stretched boundaries of America's most established understandings of history,
I'm not messing with that one, so.
theology, science, and religion.
Got the top trolls, my holes.
Complete with its enigmatic question mark, was as compelling
For how long can you stand, and to make sure I take this catch call.
centuries ago.
Oh boy.
Did they leave behind evidence in the form of pyramids, monolithic structures, strange carvings, and even stranger markings in the sands? And if so, could this notion help to explain everything from mankind's origins to the unsolved mysteries of the world's most sacred religions?
I like this. Could be happening in real life.
Religious texts as evidence of ancient alien visitation.
Carol, you go, motherfuckers. We get nothing.
These being something that was not necessarily divine, but rather something that was extraterrestrial, nuts and bolts technology from another star system.
The author of Chariots of the Gods appeared to be as unthreatening and unlikely as the book's title, a Swiss filmmaker by the name of Erich von Däniken.
When I wrote Chariots of the Gods, I was still the managing director of a first-class hotel in Switzerland. I wrote about my ideas. This was this burning fire in me that I had to write a book. And now all of a sudden, the people looked at this hotel manager completely different. They saw
catch up.
I had a similar idea, but you are the first one.
Here's a hymn.
Having already been published in
Everybody is right here.
instant sensation in the United States. Almost overnight, Erich von Däniken rocketed from obscurity to international fame. And what later became known as ancient astronaut theory was officially on everyone's radar. In their living room.
Look at that.
I find this fascinating, as you know, and a lot of people probably violently disagree with you and think this is all a lot of hogwash, and it sounds good, and it's interesting to talk about, but there's no what they call hardcore.
I have presented my books in a very provocative, in a very explorative way. And so it's absolutely...
And now I'm playing the game.
But you see, any new theories usually are they not, if they're far out and far reaching. You'll immediately say, no way,
I'm down.
it's crazy. So
Where'd he go?
You know, each new theory to finally prove has three
everybody wants to cut me.
Everybody
What a nice small corner of the wall.
In the second stage, people don't want to speak about it anymore. And in the third stage,
Got me. You little shit.
we always said it.
That happens when we cancel.
Led to a fundamental rethink about our history, our origins, and indeed our place in the cosmos. The idea that our ancient gods,
You little
deities at all, but extraterrestrial visitors, was a danger. I mean, it absolutely turned the orthodoxy on its head and opened people up to whole new ways of thinking.
I believe that Chariots of the Gods was one of the most impactful and most intriguing publications in the modern history. It was full of questions, and that was the big difference. The questions made people seek an answer.
My dad was a machinist on the Saturn V's that went to the moon. And when he read Chariots of the Gods, I think it excited him, and he knew that it might also spark something in me to do my own thinking, my own investigation. My dad always wanted me to not take people's word for things, to go figure it out for myself. And it is one of the reasons I became a scientist. It was able to take stories and
It's getting serious, getting interesting too. They had it on his head. Guys, I believe.
way back in the 70s helped motivate and push science a little bit to think about things differently.
I would think that Von Däniken's theory of ancient aliens
I know what it's
was
There's a lot of You know, pain asses. Look at that. Whatever I get, and I even use again, but
Proved to be with the book public, it was also, perhaps not surprisingly, almost entirely dismissed by members of the academic community.
The early reaction to Chariots of the Gods, especially from the academics,
a shield.
Late 60s and early 70s.
And now I'm going back to my corner.
Everyone just listened to the experts. And Eric was
that ain't got killed me.
People attack his character, they attack his research and methods. They just didn't like what was
holy shit.
Of course, I was attacked. After Chariots of the Gods, first I was crushed
Game's smarter than I thought.
by the whole scientific community. Everyone said, he's crazy. What is he talking about? And then some other critics said, well, he's just a waiter. Because I come from the hotel business, so how can he come up with these kind of ideas? Don't believe him. He's just a science fiction author.
What was lost on many of the book's critics was the fact that von Daniken never claimed to be an archaeologist or historian. Instead, he wrote Chariots of the Gods from the perspective of a curious citizen, one who posed compelling questions, but did not attempt to supply the answers.
I had 200 questions. No, I was not absolutely sure that every point, in every object, I was correct.
They had a friend, so that it was some kind of malfunction.
I was sure I am on the right track.
But while those in the mainstream academic community were busily trying to tear von Daniken's book apart, the general public found that they could not put it down.
to lay people who were buying books. They were interested in what his questions were, and things changed after that.
Everyone needed an answer to all the questions that the book was giving. And everyone became involved. Everyone became a part of the search. And that opened up modern science, and that opened up modern archaeology. Because as a young Egyptologist, as a young archaeologist, having a book like that made me think not everything has to be set in stone. I can think outside of the box.
But that thesis is add imagination and wonder to the world. Given the mystery of space, that everything is possible.
It was the first book that challenged the orthodox ideas of archaeology that actually caught traction. And it became one of the most popular books in the history of publishing. I mean, the first run, 6 million copies, was sold out in 3 weeks or something crazy like this.
For a culture at war with itself, Chariots of the Gods posed the questions that most people were thinking but too afraid to ask.
Lockdown disengaged.
Questions that seemed well-timed.
And that's what I call a pain in the ass. You can't even make every game, like, you know. Five minutes morning. I'll have Arsenal.
2018, editor and ancient astronaut theorist Georgios Tsoukalos joined his longtime friend and mentor,
oh my
Eric von
God.
Daniken.
Well, this is how you're supposed to pass part of the
They
game.
came to visit the college San Michel, the Jesuit school that Eric attended as a young boy. It was here, more than 7 decades ago, that von Daniken first began to ask questions that would forever change his life.
Oh, Giorgio, wow.
Volunteers are currently meeting for the UAC's exciting new
This is where it all begins. This is beautiful. Imagine young man praying every day, at least a half an hour in that church. You see, I was watching these ceilings. Look up there. Some of the paintings are really gorgeous. You know, with the rays,
Jesus, being
people descending from the sky. Very interesting. It is absolutely impressive here, really. And I know at the moment I still have the same feeling.
as I had as a 17-year-old.
Look up there. All the saints in heaven.
And here I learned for the first time that there was a war in heaven. You know, when I was a boy, they told me, when you come in heaven,
and this is for now.
absolute happiness. In heaven, you are united with God. If you are